Yeah, so we start and good morning to everyone once again. Sanjay ji, good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Welcome back after a long time to everyone. Uh, so we start with the practice of gratefulness. Once again, expressing our gratitude to anything and everything that we are grateful for. Gratitude is called to be the mother of all emotions, and we start with that. So, with folded hands, in silence and with reverence, we pray to the Almighty and express our gratefulness to Mother Universe and to everything. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. We center ourselves before the practice of continuity, the way to happiness. Just lengthen your spine. Relax your shoulders, drop your waist. Just see that the waist is not very tight or stressed. Relax, ask yourself to relax. That's right. And now relax the top of your head. Let the relaxation flow to your face. And as you feel the relaxation flowing to your face, relax the top of your eyebrows, your forehead, the cheeks, muscles around your jaws and eyes. Wonderful. And because you are getting more relaxed, you can feel the relaxation in your head, on your face. Let it now flow to the other parts of the body, starting with the chest and with your hands. Keep your hands on your legs. Wonderful. That's right. And now let the relaxation flow to your stomach and abdomen, to your waist, and then to your hips. Just notice if there is any stress or tightness in your body. In your mind, just listen to my words and feel relaxed. Let your thighs relax. Relax your knees, your calf muscles, and shin bone. Now that the entire front part of your body is completely relaxed, be in silence for a moment. And feel the calmness inside your body and outside. You may take a deep breath. And now let the relaxation flow to your ankles and toes. You can wiggle your toes a bit, your fingers a bit. Move your shoulders. Wonderful. Focus at the back of your shoulders on the top and let the relaxation flow to the top of your hips, relaxing the muscles around your spine. Once again, just notice if the waist is stressed. Just relax it. Feel the happiness. Wonderful. The count of 5. Just feel your hand touching your legs. practicing feel out, the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Slowly open your eyes very softly, allowing the lights to come in. Thank you. Thank you so much. Great. So what I will do now, I would be playing a video. This video is titled "What Makes Life Worth Living." It is a very nice, it's a short video of 4 minutes, 30 seconds. And it's, I would just request you to listen to it.
The work I do.
I will share the video. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'll play it for a second and just confirm that you can hear it, right?
I do as a psychologist is within the field.
It is audible also.
Okay. So listen to this video. There will be 2 videos which would be played. And the title is "What Makes Life Worth Living."
The work I do as a psychologist is within the field known as positive psychology, which has a general definition as the scientific study of what makes life worth living. In addition to happiness, positive psychologists are also interested in talents and abilities, in our passions, the things that we're really interested in. What gets us out of bed in the morning? Whether we're passionate about work, about leisure activities, about our family. My own work is focused on strengths of character, positive traits like kindness and teamwork and sense of humor. Positive psychologists are also interested in the institutions that enable the good life, family, schools, good workplaces, healthy communities. What is the relationship of happiness to a life well lived? I would say that happiness is often an indicator that you're living well, but it's not a perfect indicator. A lot of the things that we do that make life worth living, raising children, for instance, doesn't necessarily make us happy. Not in the short run. In the long run, yes. In the short run, absolutely not. It's hard work. Why do we do it? Because it's the right thing, not just because it puts a momentary smile on our face or makes us feel gleeful. Happiness is a product of our pursuits, not necessarily the pursuit of happiness per se, but the pursuit of other things that make life worth living. So if you take very seriously your work or your family or your community, if you pursue the good in those domains, guess what? You're going to be happy as a result. Sometimes when I give a talk and I tell the audience, if you really don't want to listen to me for the next hour, listen to me for 5 seconds, because I'll tell you what positive psychology is all about. Other people matter, period. I'm done with my talk. Anything that builds relationships between and among people is going to make you happy. Now the other route, it's probably related, is to have a sense of meaning and purpose about your life, to see yourself as connected to something larger than yourself. Now, for some folks, their religion can provide a sense of meaning and purpose, and positive psychologists are not shy about acknowledging the importance of religion. However, there are secular sources of meaning and purpose as well. Making the earth hospitable for future generations. Again, friends and family. Or here at the University of Michigan, it's pretty exciting for me to be reminded that I'm that my day job is talking to the best and the brightest young people in the world. Sometimes I have to remind myself of that when I didn't find a parking place in the morning. But my job is not about finding a parking place. It's about teaching. And that's meaning and purpose for me. People are always looking for the shortcuts. People are always looking for the 7 easy steps, the 5 easy ways, the magic formula. And I don't think there are such things, not if you want to have a life worth living. You have to work at it. Do volunteer work. And if you can't do volunteer work, pick up your neighbor's newspaper and put it on their porch. I mean, just really small things. If you do them over and over again, you will build the connections with other people. Just in my own life, when I was 20 years old, I was painfully shy. I would go weeks without talking unless somebody said something to me, and they usually didn't because I was the painfully shy person. And I finally decided that was no way to live, and I forced myself to be chatty. And now I can't shut up. It gives me some examples to draw on when people ask if change is possible. I go, absolutely, absolutely, it's possible.
Yeah. So, any thoughts on this? You watched the video. This video is a part of the course that I am going through, and I found it very relevant for today's discussion, that continuity is the way to happiness. So any thoughts on this, any debates that can come out, any discussions that can be introduced?
Yes, Parthoda, the first thought that came into my mind is the pursuit of happiness is different for different individuals. It cannot be one and the same thing. So,
Okay.
how you want to be happy will be different from how I want to be happy. But more importantly, there has to be a sense of fulfillment. That is, I think, has
Absolutely.
been emphasized in this
Very
short
rightly
but
said.
very beautiful speech.
Yes, there is another part to it, but if we can just understand
Parthoya,
and discuss.
one line was there that in relationship always the other people matters. So that I thought that is very important.
Other people matters in the sense the relationships. So there was a very nice saying that if you cannot do volunteer work or you cannot do charity with others, that's okay. Just pick up the newspaper and put it on the other, the porch of. So if it's lying somewhere, the newspaper person has thrown it and it's lying outside, pick it up and put it on the porch of the your neighbor, or help the other person. Do very small things.
Maybe that neighbor never comes to know that I have put it, but I feel happy.
You
by
feel
doing
happy.
that.
Absolutely. Very nice. Very nice. Any other thought? Any other thought? Deepak ji, Sanjay ji, Shubhashish, Sonali, because this, continuity is such a thing which is debatable, and it's very difficult because people find continuity to be little boring also. So when they find boring, they leave something and go to something else. So that is the topic for today. Because if you see the why we have grown up till to what we are today is because of the continuity, right? Our cells have grown, our hearts have continued to beat, we have continued to breathe, and our parents have continued to support us when we were child, and we continued eating. So continuity is a way to live. So any thoughts that might come out?
Continuity makes your habit perfect. So if the habits are good, you are able to do the good jobs. Good मतलब अच्छाई करो और अच्छाई के बदले में और कुछ मत मांगो. अच्छाई का क्या डेफिनेशन अगर हम उसे देखना चाहेंगे तो ऐसी चीज है जो आप कर गुजरो और उसके अगेंस्ट आप कुछ भी अपेक्षाएं मत करो दूसरी पार्टी से. तो अभी जैसे मोमिता ने कहा, बस उसी को मैं इलेबरेट करना चाहूंगी इसी तरीके से कि जैसे एक माँ अपने बच्चे के लिए सब कुछ करती है, और लेकिन वो उसके बदले में उससे कुछ नहीं चाहती है, बस वो उसे प्यार से बात करे और कुछ नहीं. So if we work in that mode, so ये continuity of habit inculcate होगी और दुनिया बहुत खूबसूरत बनेगी.
So you do something for others without expectation, but so you do something and forget about it also. Also, then you feel happy.
Yes.
You might not remember what you have done. So, for example, I will tell you, I feed. There are two dogs. There are two street dogs that I feed, and even when it's a holiday. Sorry, even when it's a holiday, right? Yesterday also I went, and it gives me immense happiness. It gives me immense happiness. And if I don't go, there is a sense of something, I'm missing. What the Gaurav said, ki fulfillment, ki something I've not done today. That gives me immense happiness. So maybe something like that. Anything else? Anything else? So I picked up something which I would want to share is that, so relationship is one. The second is that every time you do something, it might not give you the happiness, but in the long run, it can produce happiness for you or provide happiness for you. Like raising a child, a beautiful example. Raising a child might not be the most happiest thing. Sorry, for that particular moment, it might be a pain also, right? Filling our children's education fees during the COVID times is a pain for a lot of parents, but they still continue to do it. So does it make them happy? Maybe it is fulfilling them, and the fulfillment brings happiness. So happiness comes as a product of something that you do, that you follow, and not necessarily immediate happiness is there, but the result is happiness. So what I will do is, Deepak ji, any thoughts on this? You unmuted and then I...
No. It is totally relative, happiness. And one thing I really like that the sense of humor point. You should have a sense of humor, then you can enjoy the life. And you can make someone happy. that I found really important, because कुछ लोग ऐसे तो नहीं ऐसे चेहरे लेके बैठते हैं, खुद को भी दुखी समझते हैं और दूसरों को भी दुखी करते हैं. इसलिए वो ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है मेरे लिए.
So Partha,
really
one
like
thing, yeah, very right,
Yes.
very right. So yeah, one thing I could realize is that in this complex world, we can't always remember that how to be happy, or we cannot keep on keep on doing things unknowingly and say that I am in pursuit of happiness. So what brings me to the fact that probably happiness doesn't come by chance. Okay, happiness has to be built into the life, right? Whether at work, at play, or in our relationships, right? So so it is becoming more and more difficult to remain happy or remaining steadfast in our current scenario. So there is no magic formula probably, but a purpose in life is definitely going to serve us better happiness, and a very steady, adhering to the purpose of life. I would not say the goal, but the purpose of life, right? For instance, I pick up the purpose that, I'm a family man. I will see happiness through my family. Or I
True.
am a man who loves to travel, right? Now the question is, there will be so many forces that will not make you travel under the current circumstances. But the fact that I am kind of keeping that as the focus of life and trying to make things happen towards it will give me happiness probably. So that's how I think. Yeah.
Yes, is very true. Very good point touched upon. What Deepak ji said is humor. Humor about yourself and one's own self. That is also very important, right? And what Devashi said is purpose. So purpose starts with identity, who you are. I will just share a small example and then go to the next video. Not an example, I will just elaborate on what there is in the video. This person said that every day I remind myself that I deal with the most smartest young men in the world. So when I don't get a parking slot and I feel very, dejected, or I might get angry also that I'm not getting a parking slot, I just remember that my purpose of life this morning when I'm coming to office is that I will be dealing with the best persons. So his purpose is to deal with the best persons in the young persons in the world. So that immediately changes his thought process, and okay, fine, I'll find a parking slot. That's not an issue. Maybe it will take some time, but my purpose is to park the car, go into the office and deal with the most important and the young persons of today's world. There is a story also that American president, one of the American presidents, he visited NASA and he met a janitor, and he asked the janitor, what do you do? And the janitor said that I help the scientists to send the people in the space. So just imagine what the purpose of that person is. He's never said, I am a janitor, I deal with, I do a very small job, and so on and so forth. And there is a research also which mentioned that there were people, they used to raise charity. So they used to raise charity for educating young children. And they used to do it. It was a very monotonous job. Every day, they're raising charity, getting money and putting it there. So what the foundation did was that they arranged these people to meet the young children who are being sponsored. And when they met the young children, they found that this underprivileged children that they are helping, and that the purpose of them helping the children, it changed. It brought to their minds that they're building lives. So just see, raising charity for educating young children and raising lives, there are two different things. And the purpose of raising lives of underprivileged people, other people, that is such a big purpose. So if you get a purpose, you can grow very far. I mean, you can be happy. So with that, I will not take much long. I will play this second video. So I hope you can see it, and let me share sound. Yeah.
The popular connotations of happiness get in the way of the work that we're trying to do, particularly in the United States. When we hear happy, we think, frisbees and beer and running around and just being silly and carrying on, and that's part of being happy. But there's more sober forms of happiness. There's being content, bouncing off the wall. Maybe that's fun to do on a Saturday night. But there's worshiping at church on a Sunday morning, and you're not supposed to be bouncing off the wall then, but you can be just as happy. People who are creative are happy at least in the broad sense of happiness. There are popular stereotypes about the tortured artist and the mentally ill genius, etc., and with a few exceptions, those are simply stereotypes. Those are myths. There is some evidence that creative writers have their share of bipolar disorder, but that's just one exception. I think most other realms in which we can say that creative work is being done, it's being done by happy people. It's being done by satisfied people who are flexible. I mean, unhappiness is the enemy of flexibility. You get really narrow when you're unhappy and depressed. In contrast, you get really open to possibility, to change, to looking at things in new ways if you're in a good mood. Researchers looked at Major League Baseball players. I think they looked at the baseball cards, the 1952 and 1953 seasons, and they simply coded, was the player smiling or not smiling on the card? And I believe the smile is worth about 11 years of life. That is just a remarkable finding. Now, mind you, the smile didn't make them live longer. The smile is a marker of presumably how they live their life. Positive psychology is sometimes accused of ignoring reality. Don't you know that bad things happen in the world? And the answer is, of course, bad things happen in the world. However, the more informed positive psychology perspective is that one way to deal with problems is by identifying your strengths. Use those to leverage solutions to your problems. So we all know about post-traumatic stress disorder. That's in the news all over the place. And you read the newspaper accounts and you would think that every soldier who's over there in the combat zone is a basket case. But in point of fact, although PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is a real thing, it's a serious thing, it only happens to the minority of people in combat, and that's always been the case. We're looking at a phenomenon among deployed soldiers known as post-traumatic growth. We're going to look at this and see what lessons might be able to be learned from combat, from trauma more generally. Please don't mishear this. We're not going around saying that you should program stress and crisis into the lives of your children, hoping that they will grow from it. What it does mean is that don't write off your child as flawed for the rest of their life just because a bad thing might happen. People are pretty tough.
Yeah. So here,
if you're a business owner,
just a minute.
then please don't make this mistake.
Yeah, the other video started, so I had to stop it. Just one thing which I wanted to discuss over here, and maybe I would share a point before I come to you, is that if there is something wrong that you see, or if you are into a discussion with a person, then and you see that the person is saying something wrong, then you focus on what is being told that is wrong, not on that person. So I think that is very important. And also what is also told over here is very important, but I would leave that to discussion. But this one thing which is very important is the person is not all that bad. The person who did that thing might be bad. So totally erasing that person. So he mentioned that for one bad thing which has happened, don't floor your child forever. So that was important. Any thoughts on this particular video which came across? There are very few, I mean, there are quite a few important points which came out of this. So any thoughts on this? Any thoughts that you would like to share? Shubhashish, Momita, Gaurav, Sanjay ji.
Actually, I couldn't watch the video properly. There was some disturbance, so that is
Yeah,
why.
Partha, there were interruptions. Yeah,
There were interruptions.
no
Should I play it again?
Yeah, that will be great.
Yeah, if it can.
I think this just moved forward.
Was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer.
Just a minute. Just give me a minute. I'll be setting this video.
The work I do as a psychologist is within the field known as positive psychology, which has a general definition as the scientific study of what makes life worth living. In addition to happiness, positive psychology,
or by state means. This is not about
Well, I'm just starting the video. Let me know once you can see the video and hear it.
Yes, type 2 diabetes can be reversed. The thought that I was diagnosed with a disease which won't go away.
Okay, can you see the video?
Popular connotations of happiness get in the way of the work that we're trying to do.
No.
Particularly in the United States, when we happy, we think, you know, the
Can you
popular
hear the video?
connotations of happiness get in the way of the work that we're trying to do, particularly in the United
Can you hear the video, please? Can you confirm?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
now, yes, but
States.
play it from big.
When we hear happy, we think the popular connotations of happiness get in the way of the work that we're trying to do, particularly in the United States. When we hear happy, we think, you know, frisbees and beer and running around and just being silly and carrying on, and that's part of being happy. But
Just a minute. You can also see the subtitle which is running below, so that if you cannot hear it, you can also.
there's more sober forms of happiness. There's being content, bouncing off the wall. Maybe that's fun to do on a Saturday night, but there's worshiping at church on a Sunday morning, and you're not supposed to be bouncing off the wall then, but you can be just as happy. People who are creative are happy in the, at least in the broad sense of happiness. There are popular stereotypes about, you know, the tortured artist and the mentally ill genius, et cetera, and with a few exceptions, those are simply stereotypes. Those are myths. There is some evidence that creative writers have their share of bipolar disorder, but that's just one exception. I think most other realms in which we can say that creative work is being done, it's being done by happy people. It's being done by satisfied people who are flexible. I mean, unhappiness is the enemy of flexibility. You get really narrow when you're unhappy and depressed. In contrast, you get really open to possibility, to change, to looking at things in new ways if you're in a good mood. Researchers looked at Major League Baseball players. I think they looked at the baseball cards, the 1952 and 1953 seasons, and they simply coded, was the player smiling or not smiling on the card? And I believe the smile is worth about 11 years of life. That is just a remarkable finding. Now, mind you, the smile didn't make them live longer. The smile is a marker of presumably how they lived their life. Positive psychology is sometimes accused of ignoring reality. Don't you know that bad things happen in the world? And the answer is, of course, bad things happen in the world. However, the more informed positive psychology perspective is that one way to deal with problems is by identifying your strengths. Use those to leverage solutions to your problems. So we all know about post-traumatic stress disorder. That's in the news all over the place. And you read the newspaper accounts and you would think that every soldier who's over there in the combat zone is a basket case. But in point of fact, although PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is a real thing, it's a serious thing, it only happens to the minority of people in combat, and that's always been the case. We're looking at a phenomenon among deployed soldiers known as post-traumatic growth. We're going to look at this and see what lessons might be able to be learned from combat, from trauma more generally. Now, please don't mishear this. We're not going around saying that you should program stress and crisis into the lives of your children, hoping that they will grow from it. What it does mean is that don't write off your child as flawed for the rest of their life just because a bad thing might happen. People are pretty tough.
Hi, I'm and I work as a software engineer for Meta. I also take master classes at Skill
Just a
Academy.
minute. Yeah.
Register for the latest.
So you saw the video, right? So any thoughts? Any
Yeah,
thoughts
I
on the
want to share.
Hanji?
Yeah, see, what I was getting, it is about that whole positive psychology, the subject. I was once connecting, keeping that even earlier video in mind. See, in electronic circuit, we talk about this whole connection and continuity. And if the circuit has to work properly, we always say there is a continuity. So the continuity and connection, maybe that connection, like we are always saying, no, this conscious and subconscious, 10% and 90%, and that continuity, connection. Okay. And the other point I just took it right now is what, like any situation. Now that being a positive psychology, that I am dealing with some problem, but I focus my mind on the positive while empower my mind to deal with that negative, but keeping that positive focus, like anything I am dealing in the office, that in what is positive in the given situation, and that positive frame of mind, and while keeping that frame of mind, because there may be very good positive thing, and what you in between said, no, let's not focus on the person, focus on the situation, and don't say the person is a no culprit or whatever. So that having that positive frame of mind, and then dealing with whatever one comes across, will be better off in the always in the. So why not have that frame of mind of that positive psychology is the point I got actually. Yeah.
Sanjay ji, thank you for that. In fact, if you see, I'll just bring in another aspect of frozen and flow. I'll just bring another aspect of frozen and flow. So what is frozen and what is flow here? What I mean that if you think that the person is flawed, then you will not be able to move ahead at all if with any discussion. But if you think that, so it is frozen. But the moment you are flexible and think that this person is whatever he has said is not matching with me and it is not correct, then you are in a flow. You can go ahead with the discussion. Right. So it's like a circuit. Very good. An analogy is excellent. I think this really helps.
Yeah. So what I derived is probably that he talked about momentary happinesses, right? Like so he's not ignoring that. He's saying, let's say on a weekend you take a cup of beer and that gives you happiness. I mean, so that gives you happiness. That is fine. But he's bringing the larger context of happiness subsequently, which is through creativity, right? Creative persons are happy and happy people are creative. That is one important message that I got. And of course the flow part is very important. So I'll give you an instance, Partha. For instance, let us say a mother and father, right? They realize that their child is going to be born abnormal, right? So it's a flaw to start with. Okay, what in this context will immediately, of course, they will not be happy, right? Immediately, there'll be a turmoil in their minds. And we see so many families living with that kind of a handicapped child or whatever. So, what is the source of happiness? I mean, not to accept that flaw and move on with life and try to be creative about life to bring the best out of that child. Though in the previous thing it was said that child rearing is not a happiness, probably it is a tough job, right? It's a tough job, and we feel that we are being happy by rearing the child, which may not be right, but the outcomes may not be destined as we feel. The expectation and gaps, and the child not giving back what we gave, so there is where the expectation, and so we do it flawlessly, we do it without any expectation, father and mother, that's another thing. But there are extreme situations that people are in, and it's that point where they have to cling on to something which brings happiness to them, like I gave the example. So I just got this into my mind that that's an extreme case when a father and child realize that child is going to be abnormal, right? And similar things happen every day.
Yes, you are
Yeah.
absolutely right. Absolutely. I think this we discuss every day at our house, because my wife being a special educator, and she comes and talks of what all hopes the parents they have, right? What all hopes
Right.
that the parents have. And it is amazing. A lot of parents come with the hope that their child will come back to the normal flow of life. Some people come back because they want their child to at least learn how to handle the basics of life. By basics of life, I mean as small things as, washing their clothes, or maybe how to dress and undress can be also one of the things. It can be as small what
Right.
we think is, for us, dressing and undressing is so easy, right? But for the child it might be so difficult, so they want to learn that dressing and undressing, and once that they learn, they move into the next one. Okay, now my child can dress and undress. Oh, great. Now I'm moving on to the next one. So that is one thing. I think the continuity, the pursuit that my child will be able to do this, and he will be able to live an independent life, maybe, or a better life than what it is now. That is the pursuit of happiness. You're right, Devashish. I think an excellent example given. Any other thoughts which comes
And
in?
you know what, in the spiritual context that we have been taught, right? For such situations, we are told that, God is the giver, right? Rely on God. So it comes that way, that we start putting ourselves fully onto the God's, I mean the Almighty's providence or whatever, right? And we kind of avoid the immediate concern over happiness. But does that bring us happiness? We have seen people, leaving their normal lives and going into things like, ISKCON and chanting, uh, you know, and they are also people, right? They have left their daily this thing, and they've gone for chanting, and they derive happiness out of it. Okay, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, and all that. So to me, the happiness, the context of happiness is derived out of immediately getting out of a situation, okay, but actually into a space where where you are creative, where you love, where there is passion, right? There is goodness, okay, or your heart says that probably this is the space I should be in. So as somebody was saying that, happiness means different for different people, right? So it has to be your own self, where you have to benchmark the purpose of your life and what you want to do.
Correct. And there is where continuity, the topic, the so I'll bring in continuity over here. So for that special child, the continuity of pursuing with his development is the most important part or aspect for that parent, right? So there is continuity. So continuity is something, I mentioned in the poster also, that continuity is something which might bring in monotony, which might bring boring. But if the purpose is there, which he mentioned, then the purpose is bigger than life. What is the purpose of meeting, all of us meeting here together? Why do, why did you get up from the morning? Why did you get up in the morning today, early morning on Sunday morning? You could have slept, but you have joined the session. There can be a lot of, there can be a larger purpose to that. So that is what. Any other thoughts? Any other thoughts? Kunal, welcome to the session, Kunal.
Thank you, sir.
So Sonali, Momita, Kakuli madam, Gaurav, Shubhashish, any thoughts that comes from this? Because I found that these two videos can bring a lot of essence of life. Yes, Momita.
Yeah, I think that to me that's the most important line, that only happy and contented people can be creative. As because I am a writer, I can see from when you are sad, from your agony, you can write something, but that is partial. Actually, that does not portray the holistic picture. But when you are happy, when you are writing something or you are drawing you're making a painting, whatever creative work you are doing, that is giving a sense of every emotion, everything that you can observe. When you are not happy, you cannot see the holistic picture. You can see only part of it because you're into some kind of emotion, you're stuck. But when you are happy, so that creativity is completely changed. The product is completely changed. So that's the most important part, which I felt.
Great. So two aspects has come in. First of all, great, Momita. You used the word of stuck, right? Now, this stuck word, if you see, is one of the most common words used in today's life. I am stuck. Whenever you are stuck, it's frozen. So where does stuck come from? Stuck comes from unhappiness. Stuck comes from anger. Stuck comes from rage. Stuck comes from despair. Stuck comes from anxiety. Not necessarily, but of course, the extent of anxiety differs. I'm not getting into that. But this word stuck is a frozen word. The moment you are creative, so creative necessarily means that you are in a flow. Say, for example, Deepak ji once told me that, he is pursuing a course. Now that course, if you see, he also shared a certificate with us in the group. Now let me relate this certificate with this particular thing with this video. Now that certificate is not only a certificate from him. That certificate actually caters to a bigger purpose of training younger children or children for entrepreneurship. That is the bigger purpose. Now, when he thinks of that certificate as a certificate or that work as a work, he might not get happiness. But the moment he becomes creative and thinks that this can generate income for people that he is training and can satisfy so many lives, the purpose for him grows and it makes him happy. Isn't it, Deepak ji?
Yeah, I agree with you. Unless and until you decide to be happy, no one can make you happy.
Right.
It is in your thought process.
Absolutely. For being.
To be.
To
And
be.
what you said is absolutely correct. That really made me happy.
Made you happy, right? So, yes, so say for example, Shubhashish is a general manager of a automobile outlet or the chain of shops, right? Now, if Shubhashish thinks just the other way, that he's giving mobility to people, he's bringing happiness. So he must be seeing that when a person comes with his family to buy a new car, what is the kind of emotion that they have? And when he takes them around a car, it is not only a car that they are buying, it is a dream that they are buying.
True.
It is a happiness that they are buying. Just imagine the happiness of the young child whose father is buying the car, the smile on his face, and Shubhashish being a witness to that happiness, to that smile, how Shubhashish feels. So that is what actually was meant by the purpose. So the purpose is much bigger than what we are doing. It creates ripples in the life. So you remember we express our gratitude in the beginning of our session to anyone and everyone that knowingly, unknowingly contributes to our lives. Now that is a bigger purpose. The moment you think of that even a janitor helps the scientists to send people in the space, just imagine if the janitor goes and tells this in his family, how proud his wife and children would be. Right? So I think this continuity is very important. To continuously do a practice, to continuously follow a practice, it's very important. Right? So I think these two videos really helped us understand continuity and let us understand. There is a positive psychology formula which I would like to share, which I shared earlier. Again, I would like to share is PERMA. So can anyone repeat what PERMA is all about? PERMA. And we can measure it. So the first P is positive emotions. The E is engagement. R is relationship. M is meaning of life, the purpose. And A is accomplishment. Accomplishment, sometimes we think is the buying a house is an accomplishment. Might not be. Thinking of buying a house is also an accomplishment. The discussion that we are having with our family members is accomplishment. Applying for that loan to buy the house is also an accomplishment. The deposit, accumulating little funds to have that what we call the money that we pay as the down payment, that is accomplishment. So accomplishments need not be the end product. Accomplishments can be in the journey also, and that also makes us very happy, feel happy that today is a Sunday, we will spend time with the family is also an accomplishment, because there are a lot of people who cannot accomplish that, who are away from the family on a Sunday during these COVID days also. So I can understand that, because I was away from my family for 5 years, and in the COVID days, how difficult it was for me. When I heard that I will be coming back home, and when I knew that when I purchased the flight ticket, that was a big accomplishment for me. Right? So any other thoughts that comes to your mind that would be adding flavor to the discussion? Any others? Okay, great. So I think all of you enjoyed this discussion on a Sunday morning. Shubhashish, yes. Shubhashish, yes.
Actually, happiness, it is totally related to the need, because we all know what is the Maslow's hierarchy of the needs. First is the basic need, then safety, security, then love and affection, then ego esteem, then self-actualization. It depends. And what you told, who is the beggar of the road, he wants a bread. It is happiness for him. But for Sachin Tendulkar, he is in self-actualization. His happiness is something other. And the accomplishment, what you have told, that is the right thing. Because when you have done running something to-do list, if you make it, then you are happy. When you have done your routine, you are happy, and there is a self-accomplishment, and you feel very happy when you are recap in the day. And you have told the exactly right thing. I am telling to my executives, you are not selling the vehicles, you are selling the dreams. It is actually correct thing. Thank you, Parthuda. Thank you very much. It is my realization for the happiness. It is a continuous journey. When you are completing anything, you are something else. Your need is always growing. And happiness is coming from accomplishment of the thing. It is from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shubhashish. It was beautifully said. And I could see that pride in your face when you just said that you are not selling a vehicle, you are selling a dream, and you smiled. That smile was of accomplishment, which was reflecting in your face. It was beautiful, actually. If you again see the video, just this part, you will understand what I am meaning. So great. So thank you, friends. Thanks a lot. Before ending, we will just spend focus on breath. Just center ourselves before we break, and a very short micro hit on breathing. Count 10 and focus on your breath. Thank you. Thank you so much. And also, before ending, I would like to share one feeling that I have, that every day morning when I get up at 7:15, the only accomplishment, the happiness which comes to my mind, I was discussing with Devashish. Devashish was discussing this with me, is that a sense of fulfillment that, together we can pray and together we can practice. Right. So a request to all of you is that find out your purpose of life, find out the meaning of accomplishments, and that would be of real help to each one of us. And Devashish and Momita, I will be sharing the videos definitely in the group, and also to you personally, if someone wants, I will share it. So once again, thank you so much, and let all of us be together in these difficult times. Please stay safe. Do not worry. Do not feel anxious. Please remember that any one of us are just a call away. If you're feeling anxious, remember we are a family. Mind Vantage is a family. If any one of you are feeling anxious at any point of time, please connect with each other. Call me up, call Devashish, call Deepak ji, call Shubhashish, call anyone. Sonali, Kakuli madam, Gaurav, Sanjay ji, Kunal, and we will be there. We will be discussing, right? Let's be together. And this pandemic also, this will also pass, and better days will come. So let today be the happiest day.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Today is the happiest day of the life. We will feel like that every day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye. Take care. Take care, friends. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.